2 years ago, my friend Colin, who you may remember owned a really lovely Matra Morena, sold it and replaced it with this. Why on earth did he do that? And let's also take a moment to celebrate 100 years of the Austin 7. So this remarkable, almost toy car dates from 1925. It was off the road from the 1950s. Well, actually, I think he did 500 miles in total through the 1950s until 2 years ago. My friend Colin now does 4,000 to 5,000 miles a year in it because he's a lunatic. But it's incredible. The paint is original. It was originally painted this colour by the dealer, most probably, because this isn't a factory colour. And you can see the patination is just remarkable. The Rexine seats are still there. The hood, it's the original hood, and it's all buckled down. But you can see it's yeah, everything is absolutely as it was. It has had a replacement engine. This engine was built up a couple of years ago, I think, or rebuilt a couple of years ago. Its original engine is long gone. But yeah, Colin has an impressive amount of history. The owner went mad on optional extras. Look, it's got 2 windscreen wipers. Luxury. We'll see if they work in a bit. And under the rear, it's got these progressive cushions on top of the rear axle. So if you load it up, they sort of cushion the ride. Something Citroën is now employing on its cars today. It's a fascinating thing, and the conception of the Austin 7 is remarkable as well. Herbert Austin, the man who founded Austin, I think Austin had had some financial issues, so there was a board to report to. The board didn't want to make this car. The board thought there was no profit, no future in it. But Herbert Austin knew the time was right for a car for ordinary people. Austin previously had big, expensive cars for the wealthy, but Austin knew times were changing. So we've already seen the Austin Heavy 12 that came out slightly before the Austin 7. That was tested down at Bewley National Motor Museum. This was the follow-up, and it became a right roaring success. 290,000 sevens would be built from the 1922 through to the mid 1930s. And I've driven a Ruby, and the Ruby is kind of the last of the breed of the 7s. This is much closer to the original conception, and absolutely terrifying as a result. There is a simple A-frame chassis which starts off wide at the back and sort of tapers to the front. We've got the little 747cc side valve engine hiding under here. There it is. I think I can just rest that back like that. Oh. There we go, beautiful. So this is the klaxon, by the way, klaxon side valve engine, and it's thermosiphon cooling. So we've got an engine driven fan, but otherwise it's just the circulation of water, because hot water rises, that cools this little engine. A remarkable little engine. We've got a little dynamo down here as well, magneto, to provide the ignition. So as long as the engine's turning, it will generate its own spark. So you don't need a massive battery. I mean, there are luxuries like lights to power. That's fine. But yeah, superb bit of engineering. And what's really fascinating about the conception of this car is only 2 people were involved. One of them was Herbert Austin himself. The other one was an 18-year-old draftsman apprentice called Stanley Edge, and he was whisked away by Herbert Austin to Austin's home in the Lickey Hills. Yes, that really is a place. And they developed the car and did all the drawings on the billiard table there. And Herbert Austin actually wanted to go with a V-twin engine, but Edge thought no. So that little thing down there is actually the carburettor, and this linkage here is the choke linkage, which we'll see momentarily. And there goes your exhaust. The manifold, that's quite nice and warm actually on my freezing cold hands. But you know, look around here, we've got the original tax disc, which I'm afraid expires at the end of 1925. What a shame. This wing has been replaced at some point because it was involved in an accident, but otherwise it's a very original car. And look how tiny the brakes are. We'll get to brakes, there is much to learn about them. So controls, we've got a throttle here on the steering wheel, but there is a conventional one. That's a small pedal down there. We've got ignition, advance and retard. We're not going to have to worry about that. Steering is vague and hopeless. That's the klaxon button. This is oil pressure. If that pops out, you've got too much oil pressure, which means one of your oil jets is clogged. in the engine, you have to rod the thing out yourself. Incidentally, this is probably the only car where I've reviewed the interior from outside. But if we go around the other side, you'll see it is a 4-seater luxury. You can see the gate for the gearbox, and it's a backward shift, so that is first it's currently trying to be in at the moment. Got second over there, third up there, reverse opposite. That's meant to be a detent to stop you accidentally going in reverse. That doesn't work. This is the starter motor here, on sort of the top of the gearbox, and that button down there operates the starter. This is the magneto, so we pull that out. The magneto is energized and ready. You turn the engine over, it begins. Lights, if we pull that one out, we get our interior light, we get some exterior light. But if I pull the button next to it, we get side lights for driving around cities and saving a bit of power. It switches between series and parallel for the lamps, which automatically dims them. If we go around the back, have we got some little lights on here? Oh yes, we have. Look at that, absolutely beautiful. We built in number plate illumination, just gorgeous. But let's not flatten the battery, we'll turn that off. Apparently that should make it charge, but apparently doesn't, so we won't worry too much about that. But coming back to the other side, speedometer here, it's got 95,000 miles on the clock. We've no idea what the mileage of this car actually is, but it's absolutely beautiful. A clock, sadly inoperable, and a temperature gauge which there shows you it's 10 degrees outside, it feels colder. And then that is our dash illumination. Marvelous. There really isn't very much at all, but the brakes are interesting because the brakes are uncoupled, which means the handbrake operates on the front brakes, the foot brake operates the rear brakes. Colin tells me the rear brakes do nothing, but I think they do actually do something. But generally, to stop this car, you've got to use the handbrake and the foot brake combined, or things get rather alarming. I need to work out how I'm going to attach a camera somewhere, because that's going to be a problem. There's nowhere to attach it, and then we'll try and get on the way. Yes, let's do that. I would show you the luggage area, but there isn't any luggage. There's just a spare wheel hanging on the back. I'm told the wheels have been re-spoked, so that's all good. So here's how you get in. If the side screens were on, you would reach through a flap, unlatch the door, and you're in. That's it. But note how tight the space is here. So trying to get in behind the wheel is interesting, especially when it comes to this foot, which won't fit through that gap. Maybe they had smaller feet in those days. So then you close the door and you lock the latch down. The door is locked. Isn't that absolutely terrifying? See if we can get it to start. Starting is interesting. This is the choke, by the way. That's choke in, and that is choke out. And you must have the choke out to start it, even when it's warm. So I'm going to set a bit of throttle, put the magneto on to make sure it'll spark into life. And in theory, she should fire up. Oh dear. First of all, that's off, so we push that in. That is magneto activated. We've set the choke because this wire is the choke, and you must set that or it won't start. No throttle, just above O on the ignition there, and we try and see if she'll start. I love cars. There we go. Right, I look utterly ridiculous because I've got this sticking out of my chest, but we should go for a drive. The clutch pedal has very little movement at all, so we're across into first, handbrake off, take the throttle off on the wheel and use my foot instead, and we're away. 3-speed gearbox. Absolutely no synchromesh, thank you very much. And if I let's give the brakes a shove, the engine dies. Haha, marvellous. Oh, here we go again. I should have caught it on that. So we've got to try and start her again and make sure we're in neutral. There we go, we're running again. This is absolutely fine, folks. Nothing can possibly go wrong. I'm going to put some lights on, just because otherwise I feel invisible. And away we go. No synchromesh, so double the clutch into second. This is already feeling terrifying. And we're into top gear. And I must say, for an early 7, this one doesn't feel too terrifying in terms of steering, but the brakes leave you very fearful for your life, really. Apparently we're doing 25 miles an hour. We're into a 60 limit. Oh my God. And we're away. Oh, this is terrible. Look how little steering input is needed. It is so direct. Bit of free play, bit of slop there to go from one way to the other. Come on, little car, don't make me downshift. 747cc of sheer power, 16 brake horse. I think they got these up to by the end of production. I would say this is not that much, but slogging away, long stroke engine. This isn't the first early 7 I've driven, but the first one I literally could not stop at junctions. But I think I've got over my fear of handbrakes now. After all the handbrakes operating on the front wheels, yeah, unsurprisingly, people want to go faster than 4 miles an hour. We're doing 35, folks. This is terrifying. This car is almost 100 years old. How on earth does Colin drive this thousands of miles a year? Lunatic. Ah! It's hard to be sure whether you're steering or the car's steering. And because it's so short, it feels really twitchy. It feels like the back end's coming round. It isn't, it just feels like it. Oh my days. Oh my gosh, traffic. Oh. But yeah, I'm getting major Danny Champion of the World vibes here. Although I think that was a Ruby he drove in that, but brings it all back. Oh wow. Oh, we're going downhill. There's a bend. What do we do? Try and brake a bit. Oh yeah, that's having some retardation effect. Oh, throttle. Oh my gosh. And really, this is why Colin owns this car. It's because it is absolutely terrifying at no speed at all. Whereas the Matra Marina, you have to go really fast to scare yourself in that. Oh my gosh, we're doing almost 40 miles an hour. Very tall third gear there. That's it, we're out of gears. Must be a very unusual angle for you because you can kind of see me and not very much car. But oh my gosh, it feels absolutely terrifying. When you're cornering, it feels so twitchy. Because you put a bit of steering input in, nothing happens. And then it all seems to happen. Oh no. Oh. There we go. Pound second. Oh. I lost third and now I've lost my momentum. There we go, we're underway. Oh, jeepers. Yeah, this thing twitches around. You definitely don't dare take a hand off the wheel, really. Now, the weird thing about the Austin 7 is it sparked a bit of a motoring revolution around the world. There was a company called American Austin that became American Bantam, that developed the Jeep, that began by building these under license. BMW began building the Austin 7 under license, the BMW Dixie. So slightly ironic that BMW would later own the company that it began building cars for. Rosengart in France Also built 7s under license. Oh, this is amazing. I've been wanting to drive this car for a long time since Colin bought it, because it just looks incredible. I'm not going to have to slow down for the 40 limit, that's for sure. I've never been so tense in my life. My back is barely touching the back of the seat. Oh no, bends. It's saying to slow down. Do I have to slow down? I should probably slow down a bit. Oh, bouncy. Oh, bumped. Whoa. Oh my gosh, this feels terrifying. It feels like the two front wheels are steering in opposite directions, but also like the back wheels are steering. I appreciate this probably isn't the best view. Oh. I have no brake lights, but rest assured, no one is going to be out-braked by me. Oh my gosh, we're going downhill. Oh. Colin said the foot brake doesn't work at all. It does. It just does very little. Oh, sorry, the camera is falling down. Oh. This feels so fast. We're doing 40 miles an hour. So 7s did get a lot better through their production run. Rubies are almost normal to drive. This is terrifying. And now I'm starting to see what the appeal of this car is. Every journey becomes a massive adventure. And we're in absolutely no danger of breaking the speed limit. We're nowhere near the speed limit. Especially as it's now 60 miles an hour. We are not going there, people. You definitely know you're driving a car. Oh no! I lost it. Ah, drat. Choke. Oh, there we go. That was panicky, folks. Oh no. Oh, lost it again. Oh. It doesn't like idling, I've noticed. So try again. And then you have to get the choke in before it gets really upset. And then you have to get underway. Oh. So it's a testing car to drive around town. Come on, little car, can you get up this big hill? No. Oh yes! Perfect double declutch into first. I'm a winner. Oh yeah, driving this car is an experience like no other. Oh, fine. Fine, little car. Well, there we go, folks. That's why Colin did it. It's because driving that is the most hilarious thing I've ever done. Also the most terrifying. So I think Colin likes a bit of danger, apparently. But, oh, what character. What a joy. Trying to learn to drive this. I'm nowhere near a master of it. But, yeah. It's exhilarating, it's exciting, it's terrifying, it's amazing. So yeah, this is the car that helped build Austin's fortunes. So thank you very much to Colin for letting me drive this little beauty. We've had some issues today. This car doesn't like me. She has been fighting me a bit, but that just makes it all the more joyous. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in a future video. Farewell. How hot she? Oh, she's fine. Oh, look at that. Vacuum operated wipers. So if your foot's on the throttle, they slow down. So the faster you go, the slower your wipers go. Brilliant. And this is also what she looks like when all the side screens are in place and the roof's on. Cozy, eh? That's a little flap so you can get your hand in to open the door. Beautiful. Oh, she's idling absolutely beautifully at the moment. I'm going to go for first gear, handbrake off, put my lights on, and I've deliberately come here to the Severn Valley Railway just to use their car park so I can do some footage like this. We're going to take it really gently down here because it gets very steep and the brakes are terrible. So try and use engine braking as much as possible. And that is the Severn Valley Railway over there. Well worth a check out. Looks like they've probably got their Santa specials on at the moment. But yeah, no panic. Use the engine braking. There's a reason I've come down here and you'll find out in a minute. Oh no, cattle grid. Can I straddle the bumps? Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, very impressive sight. But this is why I've come down here, because as we go through here, brilliant. Oh, and we got a halt and we're going back to the road, so I need to stop recording. But there you go, little bonus footage right at the end of this little test drive.